Welcome, guys, back to the podcast. Surrendering Now Bourbon Later. We are the Van Bourbon Boys. We're bringing episode 13 to you this week. We're going to be discussing season 6, episode 22 of Seinfeld, The Face Painter. We talk about putty a lot, but here he comes. This is our first actual putty episode on the podcast, I believe. And we're also going through Woodford. Woodford Reserve Batch Proof 124.7. John's got the actual bottle there. This is my favorite bottle, the glass bottle in the bourbon industry. Absolutely love these bottles. They're super heavy. All their batch proofs, all their what do they call the
They're
Masters
the
Collection?
Masters Collection. Yeah, they're the batch proof
Something
master.
like
They
that.
do the 2 releases, right? They do
Yeah.
the special, finish or what have you, and then they do the Masters Collection. This is just it's a batch proof. They all are different exact, denomination
Right.
there. This is 124.7. But like you were saying, I think this bottle is phenomenal because if you ever find yourself in need of, a defensive weapon and you only had bourbon bottles to pick from, this one's your boy right here.
For sure. They're super heavy. I know I heard one time that Woodford pays like $40 a piece for the bottles. So if you're wondering why these are so expensive, that's one thing about it. So I got to pour mine. John's already enjoying his there. Yeah, they put one of these out a year, and then one of the I want to say Masters Collection. I'm gonna check real quick while John talks to you a little bit about where he found this bottle.
Yeah, so when Josh and I were traveling and living together, we got into the bourbon hunting, and I started getting into the annual releases, both of the collection 19, 20, 21, 22,
Yep.
etc. And then they also do this along with it every year. And this is just their batch proof or barrel proof, if you will call it. But they all have a different exact number. This one's 124.7 proof or 62.35% alcohol. So yeah.
And we were right. I did check. It is Masters Collection. So
Yep.
that's every year we have a few of those too. So we'll definitely bring those to you eventually. And I've
Yeah.
noticed this is from maybe 3 years ago, I would think. And man, this
Mhm.
is nice color, by the way. Look how
Yeah,
if you're on
yeah,
the
it's
audio,
real
I'm
dark.
sorry, but that's a beautiful color. Um,
Yeah, this
yeah,
is the dark, almost like it's not caramel. It's almost like an oak color.
right.
It's really, but I don't know what the age statement is of these things, but
I don't know
I get
either. I mean, they're like I say, they put it out every year. The proofs have come down since. I don't think they've had every proof has been under 120 in the past couple years. They've also come down on the price. I think Woodford finally realized that. So here's always my math brain. Okay, so regular Woodford is, gosh, it's like 45.9%, something like that. I can't
yeah.
remember off the top of my head. It's a little more than 90, like slightly more than 90. And I should know this, but I don't. And so we're bumping up proof here. So all we're doing is not adding the water, and we're gonna quadruple the price. So I think they've come down. I think we're down to maybe 149.99 on the batch proofs.
Well, I mean, in all, I'm not a master distiller. Like this one says, selected by master distiller Chris Morris. I'm obviously not Chris Morris, but when you using more of your product, you're not cutting it with water, so obviously the price has to go up. But the one thing I do like is there is a stagnant price to it all. You know what to expect when you go to buy these. Yes, it's expensive, and that's a really subjective term if you want to decide if that's kind of the price you're willing to pay for this. This is your and I's first dive into the Masters Collection. I believe yours, right?
Yeah, I don't think have we actually been open a master's collection? I mean, this is
No,
the batch proof.
yeah, this is the first time opening it for me, and I think this is
Right.
because this is the first pour of this, so this is the first one for you as well, right?
Right. Yeah, we have a few, but I don't think we've touched any of the batch proof or the master's collection at all.
Yeah, so it makes sense too when they have these just a limited release, basically very specific to the year. And then when you go into the finishes ones, like you have Sweet Oak or those kind of things. And I have yet to have any of those yet. I have 3 of them. I haven't
Yep.
opened them yet,
Right.
but it makes sense to be a little expensive. But I agree with you for the price. I would have thought maybe like the 130, 120, something like that. But
Yeah, they've come down to 150. They were closer to 170, 180.
they
So,
were
and like I
186
said,
everywhere you go look. Yeah,
yeah, and like I said, they that bottle's expensive. So, Heaven Hill had to do the same thing. The bottles, the decanters they were using for Old Fitz were so expensive that they were having to raise the price so much that they have changed the bottle since, and I think Woodford eventually probably will. Yeah, they're
I
just
mean,
when you pick up the bottle, you understand it's thick glass. It's an expensive bottle to
yeah,
produce. So
yeah,
I love the bottles, but I guarantee you they're gonna change eventually. They're too expensive for the
yeah.
whiskey that's in it. But I mean, I've already had a taste there, but we'll leave that we'll leave that on the shelf for
Well,
now. And
we'll circle
yeah,
back to that.
we'll circle back to that, as they say. So, The Face Painter, season 6, episode 22 on Netflix. If you have not seen it, go run to Netflix right now. Give us a pause, check it out, come back. We'll give you a little extra little insight and talky about it. But Jerry's jokes in the beginning didn't really hit me too much, so I kind of skipped over that part. But George talking about toilet paper with his girl there, Sienna, the crayon, right?
Yep, yep.
And that they haven't changed in 50 years or whatever. And I like that, and they try to discount him later. But I enjoy that concept where it doesn't really need to change. Like it's the thing. And even technology, like if you think about it, right? TVs just every year was just changing. And now, I mean, there's not a whole lot that's changing. And they've come down in price so much. So there's certain things that do change, but toilet paper for the most part, it's toilet paper. It doesn't change. So he's right, even though they try to discount his opinion.
Yeah, I mean, Jerry does say, he goes, "Oh, when they try and discount him, they're like, it comes in different, plies. It comes, okay, I get you. It comes in different shapes. I don't know about that. Different colors." I was like, wait a minute. I don't know if I've ever
Right.
had like blue or pink toilet paper.
Yeah, unless you're sticking it in the gift bag, I don't think you're really doing colors of toilet paper. And I don't really call that toilet paper. But I get what he's saying. But the one thing, and I like to use this fact a lot. So the one thing, I think he says 50 years for toilet paper. Does he say
Mm,
5,000 years? I don't know what he says. It's
yeah.
it's a lot anyway. But flight, right? 1912, Kitty Hawk. We had the first ever manned flight, and they went like 100 yards. 57 years later or 55 years later, whatever it was, we're on the moon with a spaceship. And that's a 50-year, yeah. Well, yeah. John's going to spark the conspiracy theories, but you know what I mean? It's like we did that in 50 years. I think it's why people have a hard time believing it because of that 50-year. But, George isn't wrong, like they didn't change, but sometimes
Yeah.
things in that period of time can become like the complete down the road crazy changes. So,
Yeah, I mean, that's a
um
good point. Like you see such technological innovation throughout everything, but at the same time, I mean, would you want something more technologically innovative to do such a simple task? I mean, if you want to increase, the net worth of what you're doing, then get baby wipes
or a bidet.
or a bidet.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not a bidet man, but,
Nope,
do
nope,
you,
me
do
neither.
you. Yeah, John's got one in every room in his house.
No.
Not even like the garage everywhere. They're everywhere. You need to spruce up. He's got you. Even in the car, sometimes going down the road, he feels like he needs a little squirt. So, but this episode centers a lot around. We're going to go to the hockey games, right? So it's the Rangers and the Devils are in a. It seems like a playoff series, and so that's a lot of the episode is centered around going to these hockey games. And he's talking about Alec Berg. So Alec Berg is the name. I don't think we find out who he really is, but he's known enough to Jerry that Jerry's getting the tickets from him, right? I don't know if they really say who Alec Berg is, or we never hear about him again. So
No, no, I don't know,
yeah,
but he is in the credits though.
like is his name Alec Berg? Like his actual name?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I mean, you guys
Okay.
check me on that and comment in there, but I'm pretty sure that you see him in the credits somewhere. Like he's actually a person.
All right, I'm gonna go like super theory, like they had some contest or something to be in the Seinfeld episode and he won. I'm just gonna. That's not real. That's just my like brain saying why is he using his actual name Alec Berg? But
Alec
he
Berg.
called he calls it John Houseman name, and I've always been like, and I should have. Shame on me. I should have known who John Houseman was. So John Houseman was. I mean, I read for 30 minutes on John Houseman. He's a super interesting guy. So
Okay.
he was born in Romania. So his name was like Jacques Haussmann or something. And he moved to Britain and changed it to John Houseman. And so then he moved to America. So he's British, but an American, and produced, acted lots of Broadway. He produced Citizen Kane, which is one of my favorite movies. He produced that. So I'm guessing based on like some of his work that Jerry knew that he, with being British, he had these like very significant names like Alec Berg. So that's where Jerry gets that from. But I thought that was a very like sophisticated, in depth, that I've always passed over. Like who's John Houseman? I don't know who that is. So
Yeah, I've always wondered that, but I never looked into it. I was like, oh, it sounds like someone of importance.
right. There you go. And one big thing that's always annoyed me with this episode, it annoys me in life, gifts, right? Which somebody we know might have had a birthday here recently, and you give gifts, and it's like a thank you. There you go. That's it. That's it. That's it. I don't feel like I need to send a letter. And when I was in high school, and you get all these gifts from people, and you saw them, they were there, like they brought them, they gave them to you, and you said, "Thank you so much, I appreciate that." And I got to write a thank you note, and I got to mail that off. I got to spend a stamp to send you a note so
Yep.
you really, really, really know I'm thankful. It's like,
Yeah.
thank you so much. That was great. Done. Great. You don't need to bring it back up again. We don't need to like reminisce about it. And so the fact that, I mean, I thought that was a pretty good thank you in the cafe, right? With Jerry.
Yeah.
I
No,
mean,
yeah, I agree very much. I mean, he went out of his way. They emphasize it.
yeah. So that happened. Like, you don't, I went to the game and now I need to, because if I gave somebody like a bottle of bourbon, right, and they, had it, I don't need them 2 weeks later to be like, "Hey, man, thanks for that," It's just weird that he would just completely discount Jerry because he didn't give him the thank you phone call after the game. I've always
Yeah.
thought that was a little over the top.
No,
Do
I've
do
always
the
wanted
do
the
the
same
thing.
thing. Like growing up, man, growing up, and you get a thing, and you're like, "Oh, I gotta you essentially gifted me a bill where
Yep.
a debt. I owe you
Yep.
something. I owe you a letter
Yep.
now. You gifted me a
Right.
debt. So
Right.
I'm glad I'm not the only one. But I'm like, somebody
Yeah.
gifts me something, and I'm like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
obligated now, and
Yeah. And I mean, we're men. It's like we don't have to give something for everything, right? It's one of those things of, me and John here have been buddies for a while and we've done things for each other in the past, but it's not like an expected like it was my birthday, he didn't get me anything. We do things when we think about or want to do them, gestures, but it's not like a payback, oh, I got to do this because he did that. It's just it's friends and what they do. So
yeah, maybe you and your friend want to just get together and just be like, hey, let's gift this Irish whiskey, to a friend, and then the friend says, hey, thank you so much. That is absolutely phenomenal. Thank you.
there you go. Yeah. I think the viewers at home can kind of figure out this might have happened recently, but we don't have to dwell on it. But yeah, it's a big part of this episode and definitely part that I was just like, yeah, why? And I agree with Jerry completely. A lot of times I
Yeah,
do agree with Jerry. Sometimes he's weird about things, but this I completely agree with him 100%.
yeah,
And so of course we get George now talking about his "I love you" return, right? And I said once to a dog, and they licked themselves. And I try to think back to the series. So we meet Susan. Susan's soon. This is the end of season 6. Susan, season 7, episode 1. She's in. He goes to propose the engagement, right?
yep.
So Susan's coming, but I thought in the past, I'm like, there was no relationships in the show where George would have said "I love you" or got that far. I guess not.
No,
Yeah, I guess not, and they kinda played off that George hasn't really had any, heavy relationships. They're usually pretty fast, so,
maybe it was a high
um
school sweetheart or something. He thought he was in love, and he said something, and then the dog licked himself and walked away.
yeah, well, no,
Um,
he said it to the dog. Elaine's like, "You've never
oh,
said it to anybody?" He says he says, "I once said it to a dog, they licked themselves and walked away."
you're right. You're right.
Yeah, like,
Yeah,
he's never said "I love you" to anybody. So he says
yeah,
it to her, thinks she can't hear it, and of course she did, and that's pretty much it of that, right?
yeah,
So, but yeah, George and Susan are soon after this. So this is our last non-Susan George girlfriend until I think Susan's 1 season, right? Season 7, engaged, end of season 7, dead,
yep.
right? 1 season, done, done, 1 hey, I mean, they did a lot better than Jerry. Jerry's engagement lasted 1 episode, so
Yeah,
as we figured out, yeah. Um, and then Putty and Elaine being so different, we get that a lot. Like their relationship is very physically oriented. Because of course he's coming in with his painted face, and Elaine, it's like, Elaine, why? Why this is not you? You're like refined and all this stuff, and she just can't quit him. Can't ever quit him. So he's always there.
yeah, I think that they did a really good job with that relationship right there, like, really emphasizing because I was watching this with my wife, and she was just astounded with who Putty is, and I was like, "This is actually the greatest synopsis of who Putty is." He's such a simple person, they almost to the point where Elaine finds him romantic in his simplicity of what he'd willing to do for the relationship, and
Right.
so she then finds him endearing and romantic, and then he just turns around and is like, all right, I'm gonna go get changed. I'll be back. We'll make out. And you're like, no, that really sums up Putty. He's just a dude, a bruh.
Very much a bruh. Very much a bruh. So, and yeah, of course. So now we get that Putty's going to the game with them, right? And Putty's going to be down, in the seats behind the glass. And this is the second time in the series where we've had, oh, John's going for second pour. I love it. I think my pour was already a second pour because you gave me that big bottle, that 4-ounce bottle there. But
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, buddy. But second time in the series where we get a fan of another team sitting in somebody's seats that were given to them. So I thought that was a pretty recycled situation.
Ooh, that's a good point. Didn't think about that.
Yeah. 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 So of course Elaine with the I don't know what I can't remember is it the Kramer? Is it that the name of the episode with the
Is this
artist?
one? Is
Nina.
this the one with the Baltimore cap? Right?
Yeah. It's the same episode with Nina because it's her
Yep.
father. He's the accountant for the Yankees and the tickets.
Yep.
Can't remember the name of the episode off the top of my head. Sometimes I forget.
The
It might be the
Kramer.
Kramer. Is it the
It's the
Kramer?
Kramer.
I
Yep.
got it. There we go. It's the Kramer. I don't think we've been over that one yet, but we'll get back to that one sometime. I like that episode. A lot of good stuff there. But yeah, second time in the series where we're recycling that same situation. Putty is a massive Devils fan, and we're being given seats to a Rangers game behind the glass, and yeah. So
Oh yeah. Yeah. I just it kind of caught me by surprise. The face painting, the chest painting. So it's actually pretty good to be caught off guard, not be able to predict something.
there you go. And we get Kramer and the monkey in this in that we're just sometimes Kramer stuff hits, sometimes it doesn't. And I think this episode it just doesn't. It doesn't
I
make any
agree.
sense. The only thing we're linking is Sienna. Sienna gets Kramer a tour of the zoo, and Kramer finds out she can't hear out of her left ear. Which honestly, that's the second time we've had George's girlfriend can't hear. Forgot about that too from the
Oh
funeral. Yeah, from the funeral. Yeah, remember she
wait,
can't hear.
that's no, but that's is it? Are we thinking the Ball Boy episode where the Jerry's girlfriend can't hear?
I mean, you got that one too, but no, we're talking about Nick Offerman's wife. What's her name? I can't think. But she's super young. I know you don't even know who Nick Offerman is. Yeah, you know who Nick Offerman is. Yes, you do. Yeah, you do.
Okay.
Parks and Rec. You know who Nick Offerman is.
Yes,
But
yes, yes,
yes,
yes.
yes, his wife, and she's on that show as well. And I
Okay.
cannot think of her name right now. And my wife is sitting over here, and she's going to tell me what her name is. Right? No, she's not going to tell me. She's not going to tell me.
No assistance?
She knows. No, no assistance. Anyway, I should know her name, but she's on Will and Grace. She's been in a lot of stuff. Anyway, yeah, that episode where he goes to the funeral where Aunt whatever dies and they go to the funeral. He's sitting on the
Oh,
couch.
yeah, yes.
Yeah, but he's sitting on the side and she can't hear. So this is the second
Yeah.
time where George's girlfriend can't hear.
Okay.
So yeah. And that one
Which
was she likes to sit on the one side because she can't hear out of that ear. He didn't try to say I love you, but it's the second time where so we recycled something else twice in this episode. We recycled something from earlier.
which goes into something else George says at some point. I don't know if it's this episode or the
Yeah,
next episode, but he talks about when they get in the debate of would you rather date the deaf or the blind? And George says I'd rather date the blind because you could let yourself go, let the house go, and they wouldn't know any better.
there you go. Good ties, good ties. And of course, she can actually hear out of her left ear because she's like, "I heard you." So who knows? But yeah, you got Kramer with the monkey, which makes really no sense to the rest of the episode. It's just a side. So
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, because I've seen this episode a bunch of times, for those parts, I just kind of went, I'm just going to fast forward because I know what happens, and it doesn't pertain to anything else to me. It just gives Kramer something to do, and sometimes that works, and this one it just doesn't. It's like we got to
Yeah.
fill 5 more minutes. So Kramer's gonna apologize to a monkey. You know, yeah. So yeah, we already talked about they have a call and thank him after, and of course they're gonna go to the game again. And Jerry doesn't get the tickets because he didn't call and thank him, and he saw him at the funeral and got the snub, and wonders is that a funeral snub or is that because he didn't call him, and everything else because he didn't call him because Alec went he didn't call me after the game, so I'm not worried about giving him tickets anymore.
Is that really what happened though?
Yeah, yeah. So they go to the funeral for the priest or whatever it was. I don't remember. It's not really important. And Alex there, and he sees him, and he says, "Oh, hi, hello," and Alec just doesn't say anything to him, right?
Yeah.
And so he asked George, "Was that like, was I getting snubbed? Was it because I didn't call thank you?" And George's like, "It's at a funeral, so who like says big highs at a funeral." And then of course with Kramer wants to go to the game, and so Kramer's like, you gotta call him because you know so he finally calls him at 6 p.m. right before the game. He says, "Well, I gave my tickets away." So because Jerry didn't call him and thank him, he gave his tickets away. So
Yeah, I just figured because I mean George's assessment of that situation where in a funeral you're not going to be like, hey, hey, buddy, you look really nice, and that's a really
right,
good assessment because that's what Jerry's reaction was to Alec Berg the first time, and
right,
Alec Berg's reaction back was a proper funeral, like, hey, how you doing? We're in a sad, solace area,
yep,
sorry, like, so I get it. But then when Jerry finally calls him back 5 minutes or after the game had started on the next, go around next week or whatever it was, he goes, oh, we should have called earlier. He could have given the tickets. It's like Jerry goes, we just really want to go. It really makes it obvious that Jerry just wants the tickets. Like he was kind of ungrateful or whatever. He's just trying to use Alex Bird for the tickets.
I mean, the guy offered the tickets, like he offered them and said,
Yeah.
"I got them for Saturday too. If you want those." And Jerry's like, "Yeah, thank you. That'll be great." And Jerry just assumed that like that was already done. I've already thanked you for this game and the next game. It's already done. I don't need to call you and be like, "You gonna give me those tickets?" Because you already said I'll give you the tickets for the next game. So yeah, I completely am like, if I called you and said, "Hey John, we're gonna go, we're gonna go see a baseball game Friday, and then we're gonna go Sunday too. I got the tickets." You wouldn't think after Friday, I got to call Josh and make sure we got tickets. You just be like, "We're going to the baseball game Sunday."
Oh no, yeah. I would I mean, just back to real life, I think that it as much as you'd appreciate it, as much as you'd enjoy it, that's my first thought is I'd be like, I want to make sure that you have those tickets again because of how much you love and enjoy that sport or whatever it is. So,
Okay,
I that's
fair
just
enough.
me.
Fair enough. So maybe Jerry should have called. Maybe that's what we figured out. Maybe not to say thank you for the ones, but to ask about the next game.
Oh.
Okay. All right. We'll take it. That's okay. Varying opinions. That's why we're here. We're not gonna stay straight down the line. We'll tell you different stuff. So I do like that they Superman reference because we always have to have those Superman references. So he said George says that's the question, Jimmy, and that's the Superman in the office at the newspaper.
I
Yeah,
didn't get that.
I know. Yeah, you're not much of a Superman guy.
No.
They talk about I can't remember what else they talk about. He talks about something with Lois Lane, and he says, "That's the question, Jimmy." And so on the old show at the Daily Planet, if I'm getting that right, because there's Spider-Man's. I think Spider-Man's the Daily Bugle, and I think Superman is the Daily Planet. I think. Pretty sure that's right. I know I'm
I
gonna
think you're
offend some.
right.
I'm gonna offend some comic book people, but
No,
anyway,
let him throw
let them
down.
be
Just do it.
be offended at the newspaper. At the newspaper, they talk, and it's Clark and Jimmy and Lois, right? Jimmy's like he's a little reporter, he's a little young little reporter guy, and Clark is always that's the question, Jimmy. So
Okay.
yeah, so that's what that comes from. And of course, we're
Okay.
always doing. I actually found a website full of Seinfeld Superman references, and they're way more than I could have ever imagined. Things I didn't even know. But this one, I
Huh.
wanted to double check that I was right, and I was. And so yeah, that was a Superman reference for sure. Oh yeah,
Okay.
he talks about reversing the rotation. Oh yeah, that's right. That's where it came from. So George says he like wants to go back in time and never say the I love you. And Jerry's like, yeah, like when Superman reversed the rotation of the earth to save Lois Lane. So that's they started in the Superman and then Jerry's like, well, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna say it again? And George says, well, that's the question, Jimmy. So yeah,
Uh,
it's about the I love you
well,
situation.
that's a very fitting conversation because half of Jerry's world revolves around Superman, the other half revolves around breakfast cereal.
There you go. Yeah, pretty much. That's just two things. And then I like Putty being literal with the painting, right? She says, no more face painting. He says, no more face painting. And then but you didn't say I couldn't paint my chest.
Yeah.
That's how us guys think most of the time. It's like that one track of, you didn't say I couldn't paint my chest. You just said no face painting, right? I did
Yeah.
just assume that was it.
Yeah, and to Elaine's credit too, you like who would have thought? I mean, that he was a face painter. Then who would have thought he would have then gone and done a chest painting? Like, that's kind of like on that spectrum of fanatic, right? That's what fan stands for. You're a fanatic. You're so it really kind of catches Elaine off guard several times throughout the relationship there.
Right. And one of my favorite lines from this episode is God's support the team. So I enjoy that one. I use that one a lot. God's support the team.
Yeah,
And Jerry mimics him and kind of closes his eyes. The putty goes poor thing.
the
So
squinting,
yeah, the squinting. There you go. Yeah,
Gus
yeah.
sports team.
There you go. So yeah, and of course they go back to the game. You get the nice little twist. It's a 23-minute sitcom, right? We don't need any big huge twist, but you kind of get the thing at the end of the game where he's like, I got a couple tickets, but there's a catch, and then they go and it's of course Jerry with his Jerry with his E and Kramer with his V, and then ILS. So yeah, enjoyable little ending. And I think this is one episode where I kind of got out of exactly what I thought. Sometimes we're rewatching these episodes with this intent, and I get more, and sometimes I get less. And this is one of those ones where I was like, all right, I liked it as much as I thought. I like putting in this episode a lot, and I've always the whole thank you thing is always every time I'm like, you're right. Gosh darn it, you're right, Jerry. I hate that. And so, I kind of got exactly out of this episode what I thought I was going to. So,
No, I agree with you. I love that this entire show touches on a lot of social, like, boundaries or social, sensitive areas. Like whenever time you go to a party that you're invited to, you got to bring something. Like, as if me going there is not enough. They're going to be upset because I'm going there after being invited. Those kind of things. And in this episode, the thank you thing, because I felt like I was the only one. Whenever somebody gifted me something, I'm thinking, oh, I'm obligated to do something about this. And then is it going to be appeasing enough? And it really, you're just handing me a debt.
Yeah. There you go. There you go.
The
So
one thing that we didn't talk about, though, the one thing that got me was
sure.
that the Elaine portion of the episode where she kind of comes in as the priest, right? The priest.
Yes. 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 The Madonna. She's
Yeah,
Madonna. Yeah.
yeah, she's seen as like that, and Putty going off the rails when he's hitting the priest's car. We're the
Yep.
devils, we're the devils. Like he
Devils.
he really shows a lot of insanity in this episode with that kind of stuff. And
Yep.
then the priest, like better. That's not really the devil. Uh, and then Elaine
Yeah.
is
He's
not
kind of
really like
like,
an angel. Like it's just it's really far fetched and weird to me.
and she's wearing like this white thing on her head. Like she would never wear that. It is a little far fetched. I agree.
Yeah.
So definitely lost a couple points there. But I mean, they're just trying to. This episode is one of those things where we got some ideas. Got some ideas. Let's get them together here. Here we go. Not one of the best episodes, but I think it's enough central point and kind of keep it going. And you got this
Yeah, but
side stuff that really doesn't make a lot of sense.
I like the central premise of this entire episode is around, right, the thank you, the apology, the Jerry portion of it. And again, it hits home with us, and I like that's what makes that episode for me.
Yeah, and I like the line too of "You're dating a crayon," with the Sienna Brown, right? Brown Sienna with the crayon. That's a pretty good one too. So, I like to think of around the writers' table. It's like, did you come up with the Sienna first, or did you come up with the crayon and then say, Sienna Brown Sienna? That's a good. We'll use that. And how'd you get there, right? So I like that too.
Chicken or the egg.
Yeah. So what do you think about the episode there, Mister John?
Oh goodness, I haven't thought about it. Let's see.
That's okay. I
Central,
mean,
yeah, central
go.
premise of the episode. Going off of the topic, the social boundaries with the apology. I think that's really resonates. Kramer, I don't think he's the kind of actor. I mean, certainly, actually, I correct myself. He is not the kind of actor that would be crying or whining that he wasn't in an episode. I think that
Right.
they just really wanted to find something for him because he's such a physical actor, and
Right.
he plays really well physically. His acting port comes through in this episode, so
Right.
that he does his best with what he was given here. Given he had apologized to a monkey for the episode. Elaine with the putty. I don't know. It's not too bad, but it's not the best. I would give it a 6.8?
Yeah, and I'm pretty close to you, I think. I might be a little slightly lower, but I'm definitely above average. I like this episode. It's one that, I would watch again. I'd watch it tomorrow if it was on. I wouldn't have a problem with it. Might find some more things out of it. I'll probably go 6.5. Pretty close. I would say 6.65 together. So we're gonna, say this is definitely an above average episode. It has its issues, but for the most part, pretty good episode. I liked it a lot. So like I said, it's one of those that I was like, okay, yeah, I remember this exactly. There wasn't anything that surprised me, but I don't dislike it. There's definitely been some we've gone over. I was like, man, this has got more meat on it than I thought.
Yeah,
And definitely some we've watched, and I went, why? I mean, last week we did the Junior Mint, right? And that was like a little less than I remember.
yeah.
So I thought that was one of my favorites, and I was like, no, not so much, not so much.
Yeah, I think that when we start taking these episodes apart bit by bit, because the Junior Mint, right, has a very recognizable moment, right? When you think of that episode, you're thinking of the Mint
Right.
going up and down. You see the Jerry and Kramer's faces looking at each other. And in this episode, right, you're thinking certain things. And there's certainly Putty's line of "Got to support the team." That resonates, and that's what makes that episode prominent in our minds.
There you
But
go.
every other the side quests, if you will, with Putty or with Kramer and etc. I think that's what kind of dwells it down.
There you go. And I will say now for the bourbon. So lot of complicated things to talk about here, right? So we have the base Woodford product, which I enjoy. We did, if you guys haven't watched them, we did some. We're gonna do some more too. We did a couple just basic bourbon reviews, 3-minute bourbon reviews. There you go. And I think we already did Woodford, right? Didn't we do the basic Woodford? I thought we did.
You
Pretty
can't
sure we
ask me
did.
to remember anything. Come on
There
now.
you go. If we didn't, Stay tuned, it's coming. But we do some basic, your off the shelf bourbon reviews, right? And I think we did Woodford, and it's kind of a down the middle 5.0, kind of down the middle kind of guy. And so this is definitely hitting above that. I love the batch proof of it. What I'm missing is the oak. I want the double oak on it. I love the Woodford double oaked. I know you do too. I've had the double oaked, and I don't think it's worth the price difference. So this is always the problem. Okay, John, this was a $180 bottle, right? So
Yeah.
we've got Woodford Distiller Select, which is $40 to $45, I think. Usually the Derby bottle is around 50, and that's a liter bottle. So we are almost quadrupling our price to go batch proof, right? So I think you have to keep that in mind.
Hmm.
The Woodford double oaked, I think, is around 60, 65 for the regular double oaked. Then you go the double oaked where they've put it in another oak barrel, and now we're 210, right? So that's a big thing with Woodford to me is it's pricing themselves out of the secondary market. They don't want people buying the stuff and reselling it. So they say, we're going to charge this for it, and we're not going to leave any room for anybody to come along and say, so there's not really a secondary market for Woodford stuff. Although chocolate malt whisper redux, which you didn't have, if you can get a hold of that, grab it. I've been tempted at $200 to grab, and this is a split bottle. It's 375 milliliters. Should have got it at the distillery that day for $100. Didn't grab it. Have regretted it since. But yeah, so there's certain things they put out that I think are worth the secondary look at. This one not being one of them. They put this out every year, and they've come down on price because they realize that these are going to sit around. We're not selling them. You can go in some random stores and see Woodford batch proof on the shelf. Total Wine constantly, I'll see them sitting on the shelf, right? And so it's great, but it's the price that really prices you out. So that's a very complex thing for me. Just on taste, I think would be a little higher, but I think it pulls it down because I know to grab a bottle of this is 3 or 4 times as much as a distiller select a regular Woodford. So they are now putting out batch proof double oaked. And I mean, I think this is a good episode to talk about it. So I'm going to grab it because we still got
Go
some
ahead.
time here.
Yeah.
These guys are hanging out. They're still hanging out listening. So I'm going to grab it and we'll talk about it because it's sitting
Yeah.
here while I'm in the Florida studio. By the way, there's no more Cleveland studio. Thankfully, that is not a thing anymore. I am now in either Orlando or possibly other adventures. But no more Cleveland studio, no more grass on the wall. No more of that. So that's done. But so this is, and my lovely wife is sitting over here, so she's going to hear me talk about it. But this is one of the best things she's ever got me. So this, and they're now making them again, but not in this bottle. So you're not going to see this bottle anymore. But
That
this
the
is a
infinity
double
bottle?
oaked, the infinity bottle. So this is a double oaked single barrel that she got me that was phenomenal. And so I drank it all, and I sat with this much in the bottle for forever. And it was too sentimental for me to get rid of. I couldn't do that. So I just let it sit. And so my eventual idea was I don't ever want to actually let the juice that's in there go, right? I always want it to be a part of it. And so I had her find me, I think she ended up finding me a store pick double oaked, Woodford double oaked, not a single barrel. Now they've started producing them again. And I believe they're also producing some batch proof single barrel double oaked. I haven't found one yet, but I've heard that they're out there.
And then I
And
found
so
you one too, didn't I?
yeah, I think so. I think so. I've got the rest of it down there, but anyway.
Yeah.
So I added that to this. So now some portion of this is that juice she got me for my birthday way back when, which was a great choice by her. I don't remember how she figured out to grab that, but she did. She knows I like Woodford, but so this I will have forever with some portion of what she gave me in it. So I call it my infinity bottle. Yeah. So you've got all those products, right? And you kind of have to circle around and go, is this 124.7 worth the price? And I'm going to tell you, no, it's not. I love these bottles. I have three down here. John has some too. I have this batch proof, I believe the same one that John has, and then a couple of the Masters collection. So saying that, I'm gonna go 6.5. I believe it's better than a 6.5. I know. Are you hurt by that? Are you hurt by
No,
the 6.5?
no,
Okay.
opinions vary. Go
It's
ahead.
okay. I mean, I think I'm 6.5 all day today on both the bourbon and I think they're great, but I think this bourbon is better than 6.5. I really do. I think it's in the sevens to me, maybe even the high sevens, but it's just too gosh darn expensive for what it is. It really is. I think it needs a little more oak. I think the color's phenomenal. I think the palate and the nose are phenomenal. You get all the Woodford, but more. You get the rye spice up front. It's not overpowering. The finish is great, but gosh darn it, it's so expensive. And thankfully they are lowering the price. But to me, 180 for a batch proof where the base is $40. That's one thing about Angel's Envy. Angel's Envy, $70 bottle, $250 for their batch proof. It's just too much. We didn't add water to it, guys. $300, so it's just too much. There's some, okay, we talk about rare breed, right, with wild turkey. Rare breed's $60, but regular, the regular wild turkey might be 35 or whatever. That's fine. Even double the price, I'm kind of like, okay, I can get that. But triple or quadruple is just too much. So
Yeah.
that long-winded circle to come back to 6.5 for it. So I'm
Hey,
interested to hear what you have to say.
I absolutely love it because you're very technical with your evaluation here, and I disagree, but I very much agree because on the technical portion of it, when you think what the percentage is on their standard Woodford, right, and
Right.
then you don't cut it, so you're just batch proof. So even if you're what, so you go from what 40% to 60%.
45.2 right there.
Yeah,
Yep.
45.2 to
Yep.
62, so
Yep.
you're just putting that much water less in it, you're putting the actual product in there. Does say hypothetically, if you double the price and you went to like 80 bucks, I would say it's an absolute gem. I think that for
Agree.
$80 a deal, I would pay $100 for this all day, every day. I think that 180 is very exorbitant. Word of the day. But, I think that's really, really high. I think that one thing going to your point when they're talking about they're pricing themselves out of the secondary market. It actually doesn't have to be a negative because you look at like George T. Stagg, right? I got a
Sure.
George T. Stagg for $180 when people are paying 1,000 for it. Now, uh, I is it worth it? Is it worth 1,000? Is it worth 200? We certainly have to take price into evaluation with
Right.
everything that we drink. Is this worth $187? It's very, very or 180, whatever, $160. It's very subjective. I
Right.
personally love this. This is probably one of the best bourbons that I've had. However, I would like to put this onto the reevaluation table. What'd you call it? Coming when
The
you want to
redemption.
recaps redemption. I wanna put it
Yeah.
on for redemption just because I've been tearing into, rare breed prior to
Okay.
doing this,
Okay.
so I might be a little bit skewed. However, I think this is absolutely phenomenal. It is smooth. It is very, very sweet. I didn't expect it to be this sweet
It
because
is. I agree. Yeah.
yeah, the, uh, the regular Woodford to me has a lot of a lot more harsh tannins to it. This
Right. For
doesn't.
sure. Yeah. The rye
This
spice
doesn't.
gets the rye spice gets muted here more. It's
Yeah.
that higher proof doesn't allow that spice to come through as much.
Yeah, so at least I'm not that swifty, at least I can get that right down. I
Yeah.
think that this is a phenomenal drink. This is easily top 10 for what just drinking it up itself. But now when you take
Okay.
price into consideration, I would say $80 all day, every day is what you should be charging. $100 is fair. 180 is really ridiculous. Where I would say for the value or for its drinking in of itself, I would personally give it like an 8.7, but then when you take price into consideration, I would drop it down to a 7.9 because I
Okay.
do think that it's very expensive, but if they were to just have it at 80 bucks, would they put themselves into a secondary market that we're seeing to get this bottle would be $300, $400.
Right.
So it
Yeah.
could be a good thing that they're doing that, and we're not paying $400 to get this. It's kind of that Schrodinger's cat. We don't know. This is certainly one of the top 5 that I've had, but yeah, how that price, I don't know. But it's definitely I would say it's definitely 5 times better than their Woodford base, in my opinion.
If you put a little bit more oak on this for me, I'm right there with you. I'm missing a little bit. I want this, but I want this. Right. And if you had to get me to choose between this double oak single barrel non-batch proof and this straight batch proof, I would have trouble. It's really, really good, but I just can't discount price. If we opened something that was $20 and it blew us away, it's a 9.5, because it's one of those I have to count in the easiness of getting it and the price. I have to. You can't just leave that out, right? I can't drink a $1,500 bourbon and then oh, it's okay, and call it a nine because it was $1,500. I got to take into account, if I have Pappy 15 and it was all right, I can't say 7.9 because it was $1,500. I
Yeah.
gotta discount. I gotta count the price in, and so I think it's great. I think it's probably the best color I've ever seen on a bourbon. I mean, if you're on the video with us, it's massive. The color is amazing. Yeah,
Yeah, I couldn't agree more because I mean, going into that topic right there, my unicorn for all of you guys out there, my unicorn bottle is Eagle Rare 17. That's the bottle I want to have, and I want to keep, and I want to cork that at my daughter's wedding. But what does that go for secondary? 3,600, something absurd, something
not
absurd.
quite that. Not quite that. Closer to 22, 23.
But still, so
Enough.
let's say hypothetically, because again, at my local store, they just had it at MSRP. It line out the door, people it snagged up. They only had one bottle. They get it once a year. So in all reality, I would probably never get it unless I paid secondary. If I were to pay $2,200 for that and then wait 12 years to cork it, and then I corked it and I didn't find it worth the $2,200, because the price has to be taken into consideration.
Right. And I mean, I don't know if we talked about, but John has his bottle for his child's wedding, and I have 3 children, and so I have their birthday bourbons for Old Forester years that they were born, and so those are the ones I have. I think at our child's wedding, we're not even going to pay attention. We're just going to know it's good because it's what we've held it for and put into
True.
it, and so honestly, I don't even think I'm going to remember tasting it because I'm just going to be like, I've held this for a reason, and I'm excited about it.
That's a good point.
But yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. You're right. I mean, you have to count price in what you paid for something, and I paid a little bit more for my George T than John did, but you know, I love George T so much that bottle. If we ever get it on the podcast, I mean, we're 9.3 for Stag. It does not going to matter. I don't care what you pay for it. Doesn't matter to me. If you paid $1,000 for that bottle, I will hold the score for now, but it's gonna be up there because to me that bottle is worth the price no matter what. And so this one, I think you gotta count price in because it's great, but this was $180. And so I can't quite get there on the $180. You're right, if it was 80 or $100, I'd be a lot higher. And I gotta count that. 6.5 might be a little low. I enjoyed a lot, but I want to have another pour now, which I don't. I have a bottle we might crack tonight because I got more. But yeah, so we're gonna go 7.2 on the
Seven
which
two
I
for
think is
you, 7-9 for me.
no 6.5, 7.9, 7.2 is our
Oh,
middle
7, okay.
ground. Yeah, so 7.2 is our middle ground. I think, like I said, I think that's probably pretty fair. We're kind of giving those both. John, the price didn't quite affect him as much, and for me, it was like, but now 150, right? We're getting a little better. Woodford lowered it to say, I think
True.
Woodford's eventually going to change that bottle, make it the regular bottle, but a little different. And that's why sometimes, so Penelope, most of their bottles are the same. Some have etching on them, but they're all the same shape, right? And so Woodford went, we want a nice, really nice bottle for these. And that was back in the bourbon boom, right? Where everything was, selling and now it's not selling. I think they're kind of realizing just putting out a batch proof every year doesn't really
No, I
make it where
agree.
we.
I think the bourbon market's shifting price-wise because, I mean, look at Jim Beam shutting down production, a lot of those things. I think that that bubble is popped, and I think that we're gonna start seeing prices level out to a more affordability, and, we're gonna get to enjoy a lot more bourbon, that was typically allocated, and now we have it, readily accessible to us.
There you go. So Woodford Reserve, thank you. This is great. I think, like I said, guys, I think it's from a few years ago. You might not be able to find the 124.7, but there's definitely some have come out since. They've been lower proof though. So if you're a proof hound, might want to go look for some of the older ones. Might be able to find them. Look at some stores. I think they'll still be sitting around from previous years because they don't sell as well as they should because of the price. I
Yep.
think so. Anyway, all right. If you don't have anything else, my friend, we'll wrap up episode 13 here. Thanks, guys, for watching. Hit us up on the podcast apps, or give us some comments on YouTube, on Instagram, Serenity Now, Bourbon Later, everywhere. So thanks for watching. We appreciate it.
See you guys.
All right, see you guys next time.